Chapter 1: Introduction to Word Remembering Techniques. Hi, I am Natasha, and today I'm going to talk about something powerful and exciting: how to remember words. If you're a beginner in English, you might find it difficult to remember new words. But don't worry. Today, I'll show you simple and magical techniques to make words stick in your mind like glue. By the end of this chapter, you'll be ready to dive into these techniques and feel more confident in learning English vocabulary. Why is remembering words so important? Remembering words is the foundation of learning any language. Words are like building blocks. Each one you remember brings you closer to expressing yourself fluently and confidently. When you have a strong vocabulary, you can understand conversations, enjoy stories, and express your ideas clearly. It's like having a toolkit full of tools. You're ready for any situation. As Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Learning never exhausts the mind." This means that learning words and building vocabulary gives you more energy and possibilities. The more words you know, the more ideas you can understand and share. Getting ready to learn words effectively. Before we dive into techniques, let's talk about what makes learning words easier. Here are a few essential things to keep in mind. Consistency. Practicing daily, even for just 5 minutes, can make a big difference. Curiosity. Enjoy the process. Be curious about words, their meanings, and how they're used. Confidence. Don't worry about mistakes. Every time you try, you're getting better. With these simple attitudes, you're already on the path to remembering words easily. The techniques we'll learn in this podcast. In this podcast, I'll share 7 powerful techniques, each in its own chapter. By using these techniques, you'll see how remembering words can become natural and even fun. Here's a quick overview to keep you excited. Visualization technique. Creating pictures in your mind to remember words. Connecting words with similar ones. Finding links with words you already know. Repetition and practice. Revisiting words so they stay fresh in your memory. Contextual learning. Putting words in sentences to make them more meaningful. Using flashcards and memory games. Fun ways to review and reinforce new vocabulary. Speaking and using words out loud. Practicing words in real-life situations. Each technique has a purpose, and together, they create a strong system for remembering words effectively. What to expect as you begin. As we explore each technique, I'll give you examples and activities you can try right away. For instance, you'll learn how to make a picture in your mind for each new word, connect words to ones you already know, and use flashcards in fun ways. These are the tricks that language learners use to remember words, and you'll soon be able to use them too. A little practice goes a long way. If you follow these techniques, your vocabulary will grow and you'll feel more comfortable with English. Imagine knowing enough words to understand a simple conversation or read a short story. Each new word you remember brings you closer to this goal. To help you, I've also uploaded videos on my channel, Natasha English Academy, showing you how to use these techniques in everyday life. Whenever you need extra practice, you can go back to these videos and review the tips we'll cover. Chapter 2: Visualization Technique. Visualization. Visualization is all about using your imagination to create pictures in your mind for each new word. Our brains love images, so by connecting a word to a picture, we make it much easier to remember. What is visualization? Visualization means forming a mental image or picture of a word. Think about it like this. If you see something in your mind, it's much easier to recall it later. This technique is like giving each word its own memory picture, which helps it stick in your mind longer. Let's try an example. Imagine the word mountain. Now close your eyes and picture a tall, beautiful mountain with snow at the top. Maybe you even imagine climbing it or standing at the peak. Now, when you think of mountain, you can recall that picture in your mind, which makes the word easier to remember. Why visualization works. When we connect words to images, we use a different part of our brain than we do when we just memorize words by repeating them. Images are more vivid, so they stick better. Studies show that visual memory is incredibly strong. When you can see something in your mind, it's much easier to recall later. As Albert Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Visualization uses your imagination to create strong memories for each word, making language learning feel magical. How to visualize words effectively. Here are some simple steps to start visualizing words. Picture it clearly. When you hear or read a new word, immediately think of a clear image for it. The more details you add, the better. For example, for the word apple, imagine a shiny red apple with a small leaf and maybe even a bite taken out of it. Make it personal. Relate the word to something familiar. If apple reminds you of your favorite snack, picture yourself eating it. Add action. If possible, imagine an action with the word. For run, picture yourself or someone running on a sunny beach or through a park. Adding motion can make the image more memorable. Use all your senses. Think about not just the image, but the sound, smell, or even taste if it's possible. For coffee, you might picture a steaming cup. Imagine the smell and even feel the warmth in your hands. Examples of visualization with words. Let's try a few examples together to make this clearer. Imagine each word and the picture it brings to mind. Tree. Picture a big green tree with strong branches and birds sitting on it. Rain. Imagine rain falling gently, making little puddles on the ground, and the sound of raindrops hitting leaves. Ocean. Picture a vast blue ocean with waves rolling in, maybe with a sailboat in the distance. Now, if you come across these words later, you'll recall those vivid images, helping you remember them better. When visualization is especially helpful. Visualization is particularly effective for words that describe things, places, or actions. Nouns like house, river, and garden, and verbs like run, swim, and sing are perfect for this technique. For abstract words like freedom or Natasha, try imagining something that represents the concept. For Natasha, you could imagine an owl or a wise person you admire. This helps bring abstract words to life. Practice visualization with your favorite words. To get better at visualization, try it with words that interest you. Choose a few new words each day and create images in your mind for them. You'll be amazed at how easily you remember words that you've visualized. If you need more help with visualization, I've uploaded videos on Natasha English Academy that show you how to use this technique step by step. You can watch these anytime for extra practice and tips. Visualization connects imagination and memory. As Pablo Picasso said, everything you can imagine is real. When we imagine words as images, we make them real and easier to remember. Here's a quick challenge. Pick a word you learned recently, like flower or city. Close your eyes, create a detailed picture of that word in your mind, and then describe it in the comments below. By sharing your image, you'll make the word even more memorable and inspire others to try this technique too. Chapter 3. Connecting words with similar ones. Connecting words with similar ones. This technique involves linking new words to words you already know, creating a web of connections that makes remembering them much simpler. This is a fantastic way to build your vocabulary and make each new word feel familiar. What does it mean to connect words? Connecting words is all about finding relationships between new words and ones you already know. When you relate a new word to something familiar, it's much easier to remember. For example, if you're learning the word joyful, you can connect it to a word you already know, like happy. This technique works because it gives your brain shortcuts. Instead of remembering each word by itself, you're building connections that make words easier to recall. Why connections make learning easier? Our brains love patterns and connections. When you link words, you create a map in your mind. This map makes it easier to navigate and find the word you're looking for. Instead of thinking of each word as a single island, you create a network of words that work together. As the writer Rudyard Kipling once said, "Words are, of course, the most powerful drug used by mankind." Words connected to other words become even more powerful, helping you remember and use them with ease. How to connect new words to known words. Here are some simple steps to help you connect new words to ones you already know. Find similar words. When you learn a new word, ask yourself if it's similar to a word you know. For instance, if you learn gigantic, connect it to big. You'll remember gigantic as an even larger version of big. Group words by theme. Grouping words with similar meanings or themes can help you remember them together. For example, you could create a group with words related to happiness, joyful, cheerful, and content. Use synonyms and antonyms. Find words that mean the same, synonyms, or the opposite, antonyms. For bright, think of shiny as a synonym and dark as an antonym. Now, you have a mental connection between these words. Remember root words. Many English words share root words. If you know that bio means life, as in biology, you'll recognize words like biography and biome, making them easier to remember. Examples of connecting words. Let's look at some examples of how connecting words works in practice. Kind and generous. These words are similar in meaning, so connect them. When you think of kind, remember generous as well. Strong and powerful. Link these words to help recall their similar meanings. Run and jog. Both are types of movement, but jog is often slower. Connecting these words helps you remember their differences. Creating these simple links makes words easier to remember because you're not just learning single words. You're building a network of meanings in your mind. Making word connections with mind maps. If you want to take this further, try creating a mind map. A mind map is a diagram where you start with one word in the center and draw lines to connect it to other words. For example, Start with the word happy and connect it to similar words like joyful, cheerful, and content. This visual connection helps reinforce the meaning and makes it easier to remember words in groups. You can try making a mind map with words related to feelings, colors, or activities, helping your brain see how they relate. Practice exercise. Connecting new words. Let's do a simple practice exercise. Choose a word you know, like fast. Now think of words that connect to it. You might think of quick, rapid, or even speedy. By creating this word group, you'll remember the meanings of these words more easily. If you need more help with creating word connections, I've uploaded videos on Natasha English Academy that show examples and exercises for linking words. These will give you extra practice and ideas for using this technique in your learning. Learning becomes much easier when we see connections. As Aristotle said, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. By connecting words, you're not only building vocabulary, but also discovering new ways to learn and remember. Here's a challenge for you. Pick a word, like warm, and think of 3 other words that connect to it. For example, hot, cozy, and sunny. Share your connections in the comments below. By sharing, you'll not only practice, but also help inspire others to try this technique. Chapter 4. Repetition and practice with new words. Repetition and practice. Repetition might sound simple, but when done correctly, it's a powerful way to make words stick in your memory. By practicing words at regular intervals, you're giving your brain multiple chances to remember and recall them. Why repetition is important for memory. Repetition helps create strong connections in your brain. Every time you revisit a word, you're reinforcing it, making it easier to recall next time. Think of it like watering a plant. Each repetition is like a drop of water that helps the memory grow stronger. American psychologist William James said, "There is no more miserable human being than one in whom nothing is habitual but indecision." Repetition builds habits, helping you remember words so naturally that you no longer need to think about them. How to use repetition for remembering words. Let's look at some simple steps for making repetition work for you. Review new words daily. Spend just a few minutes each day revisiting new words. When you see a word daily, it stays fresh in your memory, helping you recall it faster. Use spaced repetition. Spaced repetition means reviewing words at gradually increasing intervals. For example, review a new word the day you learn it, again 2 days later, then a week later, and so on. This approach has been shown to improve memory retention significantly. Practice words in different contexts. Repeating a word in different sentences or contexts helps your brain understand how to use it naturally. For example, if you're practicing the word excited, try using it in sentences about your plans, feelings, or even the weather. Say the words out loud. Speaking words out loud helps make them feel real. It's an extra layer of practice that reinforces both memory and pronunciation. Using repetition in simple exercises. Let's go through a few examples of how you can use repetition to remember words effectively. Flashcards. Create flashcards with the word on one side and the meaning or an example sentence on the other. Test yourself daily, and as you become more confident, space out your reviews. Daily word journals. Write down new words in a journal every day. Include a sentence for each word, and review the previous day's words before adding new ones. Over time, you'll see your vocabulary grow. Practice with friends or family. If possible, share your new words with someone. Explain the word's meaning and use it in a sentence. Teaching others is a great way to remember it for yourself. Example of spaced repetition with words. Here's an example of how spaced repetition might look for a new word. Day 1. Learn the word brilliant. Write it down and use it in a sentence. Day 3. Review brilliant by saying it out loud and using it in a new sentence. Day 7. Check if you still remember brilliant by defining it and creating another sentence. Day 14. Test yourself again, using it in a conversation or another example sentence. Repeating words this way helps store them in long-term memory, where they stay ready for you to use anytime. Fun ways to make repetition. Enjoyable repetition doesn't have to feel boring. Here are some fun ways to make it enjoyable. Use word games. Try playing word games that let you practice vocabulary. There are many apps and games available that make repetition feel like a game, keeping you engaged. Create stories with your words. Take several new words and try to create a short story using all of them. This helps you practice words in context while being creative. Join vocabulary challenges. Some learners enjoy joining vocabulary challenges, where they aim to learn a certain number of words each week. You can track your progress and challenge yourself to review words regularly. Remember, quality over quantity. When it comes to learning vocabulary, it's better to remember a few words well than to try to memorize too many at once. Repetition is not about rushing. It's about letting words settle into your memory one step at a time. For extra help, I've uploaded videos on Natasha English Academy that guide you through repetition techniques and share more exercises for vocabulary practice. Watching these can give you new ideas and motivation to make repetition a part of your daily routine. Learning takes time and patience. As the philosopher Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. By repeating words regularly, you're making excellence a habit in your language learning journey. Let's try a quick exercise together. Pick a word you recently learned, and in the comments, share how you plan to practice it with repetition. Are you going to use flashcards, a journal, or maybe daily reminders? Sharing your plan will help others get ideas, and it will reinforce your own commitment to learning. Chapter 5. Contextual learning with words in sentences. Contextual learning. Contextual learning is all about using words in real-life situations or sentences. By practicing words in context, you make them meaningful, memorable, and easier to recall when you need them. What is contextual learning? Contextual learning means understanding and practicing words within sentences or situations. Instead of memorizing words on their own, you see how they fit into real conversations or descriptions. This way, each word feels connected to an idea or action, making it easier to remember. Imagine learning the word celebrate. On its own, it's just a word. But in the sentence, we celebrate birthdays with cake and friends, the word becomes part of a familiar situation. Now, every time you think of celebrate, you can picture a party, making the word more memorable. Why context helps you remember better. When you learn words and sentences, your brain creates a story around them. This story helps you remember not just the meaning of the word, but also when and how to use it. This is because our brains are wired to remember stories and situations better than isolated facts. As the ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius said, "I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand." By practicing words and sentences, you're not just hearing or seeing, you're actively using them, which helps you remember more effectively. How to use contextual learning in practice. Here are some simple steps to practice words in context. Make simple sentences. Start by putting new words into basic sentences. For example, if you're learning delicious, create a sentence like, "This pasta is delicious." Simple sentences help you understand how to use the word naturally. Create personal connections. Use the word in a sentence about your life. If you're learning excited, say, "I am excited about learning English." Personalizing sentences makes words feel more relevant to you. Use words in different situations. Try using the same word in various contexts to understand its versatility. For instance, with celebrate, you could say, "We celebrate New Year's Eve," or "I celebrate my achievements." This practice helps you see the word's different uses. Ask questions with new words. Turn words into questions to practice them in a different way. If you're learning plan, ask, "What are your plans for the weekend?" This technique also makes words feel conversational and easy to remember. Examples of contextual learning with simple sentences. Let's go through a few examples of words and sentences to illustrate this technique. Word, brave sentence. She is brave enough to try new things. In this sentence, brave shows courage, making it easy to remember as a positive quality. Word, journey. Sentence. Our journey to the mountains was amazing. The word journey is now linked to travel or adventure, which makes it more memorable. Word, relax. Sentence. I like to relax by reading a book in the evening. Here, relax is associated with a calming activity, making it easy to recall as something peaceful. Each of these sentences creates a mini story around the word, helping you remember both the meaning and the feeling of the word. Practicing contextual learning with stories. Another effective method for contextual learning is creating a short story with your new words. Take 2 or 3 words you're learning and try to weave them into a story. This makes learning feel creative and fun while helping you remember words in a structured way. For example, words, celebrate, journey, brave story. On our journey to the mountains, we decided to celebrate reaching the peak. My friend was brave enough to climb to the highest point. By making this mini story, you connect all 3 words to a memorable scene, strengthening your recall of each word. Using context in conversations. If possible, use new words in conversations. Whether you're practicing with friends, family, or even in front of a mirror, putting words into real sentences builds confidence and memory. Try sentences like, "I learned a new word today." Brave. It means being courageous. For extra help, check out the videos on my channel Natasha English Academy that demonstrate how to practice words in sentences. These videos include examples of sentences, conversations, and stories, giving you even more ideas for practicing contextually. As the educator John Dewey said, "Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself." By practicing words in context, you're not just preparing to learn English, you're actively living and experiencing it, making language a real part of your life. Let's put this technique to the test. Pick a word you recently learned and in the comments, write a simple sentence with it. For example, if you learned the word relax, your sentence might be, I like to relax by watching movies on weekends. Sharing your sentence helps reinforce the word and gives others ideas for their own practice. Chapter 6. Using flashcards and memory games. Flashcards and memory games. Flashcards and games make vocabulary practice enjoyable and engaging. These tools allow you to review words repeatedly without feeling bored, turning learning into an exciting challenge. Why flashcards and games? Work for vocabulary. Flashcards and memory games are great for vocabulary because they involve both repetition and quick thinking. With flashcards, you can review words daily, reinforcing them in your memory. Memory games add an element of play, which helps you stay motivated and keeps learning fun. Together, they're a powerful way to remember words faster. Psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus, who studied memory, discovered something called the forgetting curve. Our brains naturally forget things over time, but regular review through tools like flashcards can help beat the forgetting curve, ensuring words stay in your mind longer. How to use flashcards effectively. Flashcards are simple but incredibly useful. Here's how to make and use them effectively. Create your flashcards. Write the word on one side and its meaning or an example sentence on the other. Keep your cards simple so you can read and understand them quickly. Review daily. Spend a few minutes each day going through your flashcards. By reviewing consistently, you give your brain the chance to remember words easily. Mix new and old words. Combine recently learned words with older ones to keep both fresh in your memory. This also prevents you from forgetting words you've already studied. Challenge yourself to recall faster. As you get more comfortable, see if you can go through the flashcards more quickly. The faster you can remember each word, the stronger your memory will be. Examples of flashcards in action. Here's a quick example of what your flashcards could look like. Front, happy back, feeling joyful or pleased, e.g., I am happy to see you. Front, journey back, a trip or experience of travel, e.g., our journey to the beach was exciting. If you're a visual learner, you can even draw small images or use color to help remember each word. Memory games for word practice. Memory games add a playful element to vocabulary review. Here are some popular memory games you can try. Matching game. Write words and their meanings on separate cards, shuffle them, and place them face down. Try to match each word with its meaning by flipping 2 cards at a time. This game challenges you to remember both meanings and locations, making it a fun mental workout. Word association game. Pick a word and think of as many related words as possible. For example, if the word is sun, you might say bright, summer, hot, and yellow. This helps you build connections between words, making recall easier. Vocabulary quiz game. If you're learning with a friend or family member, take turns quizzing each other. One person gives the word and the other provides the meaning or uses it in a sentence. This keeps vocabulary review fun and engaging. Category game. Think of a category like food or travel, and try to recall all the words related to that category. For travel, you might think of journey, adventure, map, or explore. Practicing with categories helps you organize words in your mind, making them easier to remember. Using flashcard apps for practice. If you prefer digital tools, there are many flashcard apps available that can make vocabulary review even more convenient. Apps like Anki or Quizlet allow you to create custom flashcards and offer quizzes and memory games. Some apps even use spaced repetition, so they remind you to review words right when you're about to forget them. On my channel, Natasha English Academy, I have videos that show how to create and use both physical and digital flashcards, along with tutorials on memory games you can play alone or with others. These resources will guide you in making vocabulary practice easy and enjoyable. Why games make learning effective? Games make learning feel like play, which keeps your brain relaxed and engaged. When learning feels like a game, your brain absorbs information more quickly because it's not under stress. As Albert Einstein famously said, play is the highest form of research. By treating vocabulary as a game, you turn learning into a fun experience. Here's a quick exercise to start. Choose 3 new words and create simple flashcards for them. If you're feeling creative, try drawing little images or using colors that help you remember the words. Or, if you're up for a game, play the matching game with a friend or family member and see how many pairs you can match. Chapter 7. Speaking and using new words out loud. Speaking and using new words out loud. When you say a word out loud, it feels more real, and your brain gets more practice hearing and using it. Speaking words gives them life, helping you remember them better and feel more confident in using them. Why speaking out loud strengthens memory. When you speak a word, you're involving more of your senses, seeing, hearing, and feeling the word as you say it. This multi-sensory experience strengthens your brain's connection to the word. By using it in conversation or even practicing alone, you make the word an active part of your vocabulary. Famous educator Maria Montessori once said, "What the hand does, the mind remembers." For language learning, we can think of this as what the mouth says, the mind remembers. When you say a word out loud, it moves from your mind to your voice, making it easier to recall in real-life situations. How to practice speaking new words out loud. Here are some easy ways to start using words out loud, whether you're practicing alone or with someone else. Repeat words daily. Choose a few words each day and say them out loud several times. This repetition builds confidence and familiarity. For example, if your new word is celebrate, say, "I like to celebrate with friends," or "Let's celebrate together." Practice with mirror speaking. Stand in front of a mirror and say sentences with your new words. This technique gives you practice speaking and also helps you feel more comfortable using English. Imagine you're introducing yourself or talking to someone and use words you've recently learned. Create mini conversations. Think of simple conversations you might have with a friend or family member and practice using your new words in those situations. For example, if you've learned excited and explore, you might say, "I'm excited to explore new places this weekend." Record your voice. Use your phone or any recording device to record yourself saying new words and sentences. Listening to your own voice can help you spot areas for improvement and make the words sound more natural. Examples of using words in conversations. Let's go over a few examples of how you can use new words in short, everyday conversations. Word, grateful. I am grateful for all the support I receive from my friends and family. Word, journey. Life is a journey with many surprises along the way. Word, inspire. My teacher inspires me to work harder and achieve my goals. By using words and sentences that reflect real-life situations, you'll find they feel natural and easier to remember. Using shadowing to improve pronunciation and fluency. Shadowing is a technique where you listen to a sentence or phrase and then immediately repeat it. This helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency, making the words sound more natural. Here's how to do it. Find an audio source, like a YouTube video, podcast, or even a language app. Listen to the speaker say a sentence with a word you're learning, then repeat it immediately. Focus on matching the speaker's tone and speed. Shadowing helps make words feel automatic, which builds your confidence in using them out loud. Building confidence in speaking with others. Speaking new words out loud can feel intimidating at first, especially if you're learning a new language. Here are some simple ways to build confidence. Practice with friends. If you have a friend who's also learning English, practice together. You can quiz each other on new words and challenge each other to use them in sentences. Use words with family members. Even if they're not learning English, you can still practice by using new words with them. For example, if you're learning interesting, say, "That's an interesting story," to a family member. Try speaking clubs or online groups. Many learners join English speaking clubs or online groups. These give you a safe place to practice speaking with others at your level. On Natasha English Academy, I have videos that demonstrate these speaking techniques. Watching these can give you extra guidance on how to incorporate speaking practice into your daily routine, even if you don't have someone to practice with. As the writer and philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein said, "The limits of my language mean the limits of my world." By speaking new words, you expand your world, opening doors to new ideas, conversations, and friendships. Every word you say makes your language skills stronger and your communication richer. Here's a speaking challenge for you. Choose one new word you've recently learned and create a sentence using it out loud. Then try to use that word in a conversation today, whether with a friend, family member, or even yourself in front of a mirror. Afterward, share your experience in the comments. What was the word and how did it feel to use it out loud? Congratulations on completing the podcast. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the best techniques for remembering words. We've covered visualization, connections, repetition, contextual learning, flashcards, memory games, and speaking. All powerful methods to boost your vocabulary and confidence. Remember, learning is a journey, and every word you master is a step forward. Whenever you need more practice, check out my channel, Natasha English Academy, where I've uploaded videos on each technique to support you. Keep practicing, stay curious, and never stop speaking your way to fluency. Happy learning, and may each new word bring you closer to mastering English.